Hey, I'm Dan, and this is Dan's Planes. Sometimes when you have an old enough airplane, which this Sbach is, I'm sure over 10 years old, and I don't know how many dozens and dozens and dozens of flights it's had, you come across some maintenance. So the tires that I had have these kind of nylon inserts that that go inside the tires and then go on to the shaft. So believe it or not, and I know you'll believe it with the landings that I do, eventually I broke one or two of these nylons inserts on one wheel. So it was not rolling right. So then I bought these Dubro 3-inch wheels. They lasted one hard landing and they completely stripped away from the hub. Couldn't believe it. I've never had that happen before on Dubro or any other wheels. So whole landing, maybe it was 2 landings, I don't know. So my buddy Matt 3D printed some new inserts for me, so I'm able to go back to my original wheels that have the aluminum and the inserts. So I'm just going to swap those out, which is as easy as undoing a set screw, pulling the wheel collar off, pull the wheel off, put the new wheel on. Matt wasn't totally sure of the inside diameter of these, so we'll have to see how they fit on the axle. And then after that, we've got some covering we need to do. Just over time, covering has come off and split apart on this top black part, so need to replace that. She's been an awesome plane to have. She's definitely one of my go-tos. You can throw her around the sky or you can be gentle, whatever you want to do. So I highly recommend an Sbach. This is the Pilot version, 70 something inches. So here's the covering. See, it's split apart and it also shrunk up to where it's tight across here. It doesn't form down the body and then into the curve. Getting these curved parts is always a little bit tricky, especially trying to get it without wrinkles, which I don't know that I can really do. But basically I'm going to have to cut down here and then replace it with, I think, 1 strip. So first cut away, then measure and cut the strip I'm going to use. Okay, what I did is I cut away the loose covering on either side. And I wanted to do it in straight lines, but I couldn't really do it because this is curving down and then up, and then it's curving round. So I just went and I cut by hand, which is uneven, and cut the strips off. Then I took the strip that I pulled off and I put it on top of the covering I have, and lined up what was the straight edge. Whoops, dropping the camera. What was the straight edge that went down the center of the back, I aligned up to what I had was a straight edge. Then I cut a little excess, about 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch bigger, and I put that on top of here, so it would cover over that 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 of an inch. And I was hoping that black on black, it would kind of fade into each other and you're not really going to see it unless the sun is shining really bright on it. A problem with my theory, though, is this black that's on there is kind of faded. So now I'm going to have new black and this faded black. So it's not going to look perfect, but you know, this plane is over a decade old. So I'm glad it's still around, especially with some of the landings I've had. So that was that strip. So now I'm going to cut this as a straight edge, and then I will do the next strip and put it over here. The other problem with my theory of doing this is the covering had shrunk, so hopefully I can make it wide enough. But I think I'm going to have a open V or a split right here, so I'm probably going to have to do another piece to cover this part. So I've never done this before, and this is a complicated concave but then convex curve, so just making this up as I go along, trying to do the best I can on an old plane and make it passable. So on we go. As I figured, there's a little diamond shape, you could say, that covering got missed. And that's because I couldn't copy these pieces exactly because they had shrunk over time. So when I cut them off, they were smaller than when they were applied at the factory. That's okay. I'll just cut another piece here and try to work through it. Those kind of compound curve areas are really tough to try to get without any wrinkles or bubbles. Alright, so I did the best I could. There are definitely crinkles and creases in there. But as the saying goes, from 5 feet away will people see it? I doubt it. I don't think anybody's going to be looking directly at that spot. But there are other covering issues where the covering shrank too much. So the plane is imperfect as it is anyway. But I did the best I could. And it's good enough for me. So we'll go with that. That completes the work on the Sbach. So if you wouldn't mind throwing me a like and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of stuff. And I wish you blue skies and good speed.